Just to prove that meditation doesn't have to be painful or difficult, today we're doing a body scan, which is a very relaxing, easy, and guided meditation that can be good if you're feeling particularly stressful or anxious. Certainly helps at bedtime, and sometimes even if you have the occasional or regular middle of the night can't get back to sleep thing going on, this can be something to self employ to get you back to sleep. Hi, I'm Steve from Steve White Yoga, bringing you the application of yoga to manage your health, improve your relationships, and balance your life. Let's take a look at today's session. From the outset, let me say that we will. This is an easy one. This is a laying down one. Laying down or lying down? Laying down one, I think. Lying down one. Lay an egg. Lie down. It's a lying down one. If you're in a place where you can do that. If not, you can just sit comfortably. So, a lot of you are going to be familiar with the sort of style of this, which is very much akin to a particular yoga practice called Yoga Nidra. It's called a body scan in the mindfulness world, and it's approximately the same thing as that. And it is a perfectly legitimate practice for mindfulness meditation. So don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. I'm going to try and get to. There we are. Okay, so here we are once again. I think I took a quick look at the list, and it looks like I think everyone who is on today has been here before. And so and if you haven't, I apologize. This is mindfulness meditation. So we'll do a little talking and a little more practice today than we've been doing in earlier sessions. I think everybody who's been listening to this once or twice at least before gets the idea that this is a series of practices which are well supported now in the Western world based on scientific research of good quality. And so we don't need to sort of belabor that point anymore. Yoga, from its early beginnings, was about dealing with the mind. And we know that yoga is at least a couple thousand years old. There are texts that support its existence as early as 800 BC and perhaps much earlier than that. And it doesn't really matter when. It was a long time. It's been around a long time. But the suggestion in yoga is that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are a function of patterns. And those patterns come from our basic biology, our fight, flight, fright, or rest and digest portions of our nervous system, from genetic traits that we may have inherited, and from our own life experiences. And if you really believe in the yoga world, you would add to that past lives. So there's a strong belief that when we're done here, we're not done here, and that our energy is transmuted to another live being at some point following our physical demise here. So some of these patterns that we've established obviously are healthy and helpful and good for us and good for others, good for the world. Others are less so, and some downright destructive, either to ourselves or to others, or in yoga you would say it's destructive to both. If you're doing destruction outside of yourself, it's destruction to yourself as well. So one of the things that yoga practices offer is a window through which to examine our patterns, and then a path by which we can work to reduce or eliminate those patterns which we find to be dysfunctional. And that is the basis of this practice called mindfulness. A little quote: 3 things you cannot recover in life. The word that's after it's said, the moment after it's missed, and the time after it's gone. Food for thought. I think that we did this one Tuesday too. Quick definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. So again, in the yoga perspective, the suggestion is that mindfulness is part of our heritage, it's part of our nature, it's there. And the way they would describe it is that it's covered by all of these patterns, so that our ability to be fully present is buried underneath all of our fears and phobias and desires and whatever else may be at work. So if we can create the space to uncover those patterns of behavior within that space, we can relax into the moment and have, kind of a fuller, more direct experience of life, absent all of those conditions. So since we're going to be lying down quite shortly here, I'm going to sort of do the end at the beginning or now at the earlier stage. And so I want to talk about a couple of habits that are good to have if you're going to commit to a regular practice. And a couple of these we went over last time. The first one has to do with surroundings. So if you're going to endeavor to do this on a regular basis, it's best done in a place that provides hopefully some sense of comfort and serenity, but equally or more important, is free of distractions or interruptions as much as is possible in the context of your life. So it is certainly within your control to put your phone on airplane mode. And that is always the first and foremost suggestion, or at least leave it in the other room. And then, other occupants of your dwelling or wherever you are, kids, dogs, spouses, extended family members who are staying indefinitely. Those things we can't always control, but the more that you can do to anticipate interruptions, the better. Because, as you settle into this work, and particularly after you've done it for a while, you really do kind of get into the groove of it most days, certainly not all the time. And the real benefit of it is, part of the real benefit of it is having some consistency in the duration of time that you can do this. So if you're doing a 10-minute meditation session, a mindfulness session, it is best to have that full 10 minutes to yourself. Consistency, speaking of, revolves around time of day. It's always helpful to do it at the same time of day if that's possible in your life. It has to do with duration of the session. So, if it's 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes. And as I always say, I've said here before, put a timer on, put it on your phone. Even though it's in airplane mode, the timer will still work. And go ahead and put the timer behind you somewhere where you're not going to be tempted to look at it, and just, have the full experience. That discipline that comes with the commitment of time of day and duration goes a long way toward this whole practice of sort of retraining the mind to be a little more fully in the moment. And then number of days of the week is obviously up to you. 5 is the sort of prescribed minimum from most camps in this world, and 7 is best. And then we mentioned a timer already. I don't think we talked about this last time. A notebook can be helpful. Some people call it a journal. Things come up, and some of those things may be mundane and the same things that have come up, through many, many, many moments of your life. But occasionally the light goes on and there's some kind of an epiphany. Or you might have, I've had a zillion occasions where I've had some idea come up regarding something in my life that I'd been sort of pondering for a while, and it just kind of came out of the blue. So best to do that and have something like a pen and a piece of paper next to you than to pick up your phone and then get distracted by other things on your phone, or go to your computer or someplace else in the house or wherever you are to write things down. and or just say, oh yeah, well, I remember that, and then forget it if you're anything like me. So anyway, a notebook can be helpful. And then I wanted to speak just real briefly to practice, your personal practice, should you choose to have one. First and foremost, it should be enjoyable. And that doesn't mean it's going to be enjoyable every minute that you do it. And if you're not used to sitting still for long periods of time, or if you're one of those personalities who finds it more difficult to just sort of settle, then enjoyable becomes a relative term. And we go with not painful. But in a kind of overarching sense, we want this to be an enjoyable practice. We want you to get value from it. But if you don't feel like it's beneficial, like, I don't mean beneficial, if you don't feel like it's enjoyable, it's a whole lot harder to sit down every day and do it. So in that vein, there are a lot of different kinds of practices that you can do. We've had some examples here of different kinds, including the one we're doing today, one a little different from the other. Certainly the anchoring practices, and we'll talk about anchoring again in a second, but the anchoring practices are always kind of the go-tos. And if you're going to do guided meditations, my suggestion, based on my own experience, is it's fine to do guided meditations, but two things. Number one, stick with the same one for a little while. So find somebody you like, somebody who speaks to you, somebody whose voice you can stand and hopefully find pleasant. And then do that meditation, that particular meditation, for a few days in a row. There is a little bit of danger in sort of jumping around just from thing to thing to thing, because it becomes too much like the rest of our lives. And it gives us an out, excuse me, an out in a sense, to not develop that habit of consistency. So find somebody you like if you're going to do a guided meditation. Find a meditation that you like and do that meditation for a few consecutive days before moving on. And then ultimately, you want to sort of start to shed yourself of the sort of crutch of guided meditations and do some silent meditations where you're just following your breath or you're just following sound. That it's a lot more challenging for a lot of people. I took to it fairly easily when I started meditating, but I know a lot of people have struggled with it, and it's why they stay away from meditation completely. So just please at least sort of sprinkle it in from time to time, and stick with the guided ones if that's, what is generally most enjoyable, most pleasant for you. And consistency again is the rule here. So I always equate this to physical exercise. If you exercise, if you go out and run once a week, it's better than not running at all. If you run twice a week, it's better than running once a week. But in order to really sort of reap the benefits, there has to be some kind of a regular practice. So again, 5 days a week is preferable, and 7 days a week is great. Guided at first, gradually introducing unguided. We just talked about that. So there are some thoughts, and you can take those and do what you will with them. And of course, I should have mentioned on my YouTube channel, Steve White Yoga, I'm putting some of these sessions up. So if you want something in terms of a guided meditation, you can cut out all the crap at the beginning that we're talking right now and just do the practice a little later on YouTube. So, okay, now we're here. Get someplace where you can lie down if that's possible for you, or at least seated in a chair that's comfortable. And as you're doing that, I will continue to talk. So body scans are a really common practice in the mindfulness world. And it's obviously important, first and foremost, to be comfortable, which means it's sometimes good to have a little support for your head, a pillow or a blanket or something under your head. A lot of people like to have a support underneath their knees, so their knees are raised just a little bit. Sometimes it'll take a little pressure off the low back, even off the knee joints. And there are people who get really elaborate with being comfortable. When I took my 500-hour teacher training, my second teacher training, there was a woman in class who would come in late every day, I should say. And she would dragged like 6 bolsters and 3 pillows and a couple of blankets with her. I mean, it was sort of hilarious to watch, except it was a little annoying. But uh, use props, be comfortable. And then the second rule, which we will focus on momentarily, is be present. And then finally, the 3 sort of golden rules of this whole series of practices, this mindfulness realm: be relaxed, be friendly, be interested. And friendly means being friendly to yourself. So don't get down on yourself. If this is hard, you don't, there are people who are type A yogis, who just don't settle down easily or well. And that's okay. Just allow that to be your experience. And being interested means, creating a little bit of separation between yourself and your experience so that you're not necessarily going through the whole habit of evaluating and judging and projecting and all the stuff that we always do. So that's what we're here for, to develop a little bit of that. All right, I will find my thing. Oh, we're ready to go. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. So as you settle into a relaxed position, find the weight of your body being supported by the floor or whatever you're on. And notice whatever contact your legs are making now with your object of support. Notice the backs of your hips. Notice your low back and your middle back and your upper back. Relax the top and the backs of your shoulders and your arms and the back of your neck. Relax your head. Make any adjustments that you need to become as fully engaged with this process of relaxation as you can. Give in to the support of the floor completely. Relax the muscles of your face and your eyes and your forehead. Relax your temples and your cheeks, your mouth, your tongue, your jaw. Relax your whole face. Now allow the palms of your hands to meet your belly. And just feel the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe. Notice each inhalation as it enters, each exhalation as it exits. Let your breath be soft and full and easy. No effort. Let the body be breathed. And try this. As you inhale, silently say in your mind, let. And as you exhale, silently say, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. As you follow the breath, let the body sink deeper and deeper into relaxation. And let your arms now rest by your side. As you exhale, make a soft fist with each hand. And then as you inhale, relax the fist. Let your body sink deeper and deeper into the support of the floor. Now bring your awareness to your feet and feel the soles of your feet. Feel all 10 toes. Imagine for a moment that you could inhale and exhale through the soles of your feet. Imagine the breath entering the body through the soles of the feet and exiting through the soles of the feet. As if the energy of the breath extends. Now bring your awareness to your hands. Feel the backs of your hands. Feel the palms. Notice all 10 fingers. And then imagine that the energy of the breath could reach through the palms so that inhale is entering through the palms. Exhale is leaving through the palms. Now bring your awareness to your belly and feel the belly rise and fall as you breathe. Imagine that you could inhale and exhale through the navel. Imagine that the energy of the breath is entering through the navel and filling the belly. Exhaling, the breath exits through the navel. Now let your mind relax deeper below awareness of the breath. Let the mind relax below the level of concentration on anything, including the breath. Just let the mind and the body go. Let go completely. Notice your breathing. Take in everything you can of the experience of inhaling as breath enters the body. Take in every experience of exhaling as breath leaves. Notice how easy and effortless it is to accomplish this fact of breath. Notice how the whole body is supported by the floor. Notice how easy it is to be in your body in this moment, feeling supported, feeling at ease, feeling at rest. Let your awareness fall to the sensations provided by your hands and fingers. And maybe even create some soft movements and of the hands and fingers and have an experience of that. You might do the same with the toes. First, just have an experience of having toes, having feet. And keeping your awareness rooted there, make some small movements. And notice the feedback. You might shift your attention momentarily to experience sound. Objectively, without judgment or control, notice sound, almost like you were recording the sounds that you hear. Rather than drag you out of this right away, I will leave you to either stay wherever you are and continue to experience bliss. I hope you found value in today's video. For others like this, as well as many of the applications of yoga beyond the mat, please watch my YouTube channel, Steve White Yoga, or look at my website, www.stevewhiteyoga.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.